Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Um, in the our anticipation of our ascension and growth and evolution, and the fact that we have now have had confirmation in dream state that the first level of ascension, which is the 12th level initiation, for us collectively as a group, is imminent. Maybe a month for some, a 2 month at the most. We need to double our effort to make sure that we're working diligently and we're doing what's necessary to facilitate this. Because it's not just about our collective group effort, but it's the fact that at this very moment, externally and Deus ex machina, meaning outside of our own solar system and universe, there is help that's coming in. In August 13th, the Schumann resonance started hitting for a long period of time what they call the whiteout state. Schumann resonance is a differential that exists between the actual number of hertz or electric current that's at the surface of a planet via, as opposed to what exists in the magnetosphere and the ionosphere of the Earth, and it's typically around 8.73 or around there. But it has been hitting quite a bit, oscillating, but it ended up being in whiteout zone, which is over 100 hertz for hours and hours and for days, meaning that we're getting external help. And for those of us, particularly if you're following the practice I've been teaching you, the Melchizedek order of neutrality, you will begin to feel euphoria at moment, joy, ecstasy, a moment of incredible clarity and ease. Like all of a sudden, it's like you're standing on top of a mountain and you're breathing fresh air. Like there's an incredible ease. And those are the days where the white hat happen. However, if you're not doing the work, when these moments happen, you will, and you're still at 8.73, you will feel nausea, you will feel dizzy, you will feel agitated, you will not be able to sleep, and you will feel like something's crawling on your skin, or even having minor brain seizures. So these things are because you're holding back the old pattern, and the sun and the charges coming from the outer atmosphere is trying to accelerate and quickening our growth and our evolution. Now, it's been progressive. And the reason I'm saying this is because there are multiple other ascension mechanics. I had an opportunity to talk to a friend of mine that's been studying with this other teacher. We had coffee recently, and she, last Sunday, and she was sharing some information about that system. And it's extremely cerebral and intellectual. It's very intellectually appealing. Level, tiers, layers, monad, extended, going into all different levels, and also alien races and hybrid races, but it's highly intellectual and psychic. These people have psychic ability through that system. They have an increase in power and they're able to use it, but there is very little taming of the negative ego. I don't know enough about the system to say there is none whatsoever, but from the lives of my friends who are doing this, I can tell you there is not a lot of work being done in the negative ego. There is no emotional intelligence. There is no social intelligence. There is definitely no spiritual intelligence. And from the leaders of that community as well, from what is being reported to me, because I don't know them intimately, I know of them, I've read their book, but from what's being reported about them, it appears that they are not in alignment with their own ego. Meaning what? Meaning that they're emotionally, they haven't done the dentien and the deep work. They have not done the queries. They have not done all of the deep work that we've been doing for years. That is very unsexy because everybody loves energy, the intellectual stuff, and I can talk about how many hybrid races, and more to the point. And the other point that I want to add to this is that they are battling, because a lot of the information or so-called cosmic history is about the wars that are happening in the heaven. And this race is battling that race, that one is battling. Of course, there are parts that that this teaching to describe that shows them as being more evolved and not battling, etc. But for the most part, it's like all of us on Earth are target for these advanced races that are so technologically advanced, but are as petty and as unevolved as Genghis Khan. So I find this not plausible for me. Oh, I'm not saying that there are not races out there that are like this in the stars, but I don't find this to be from my personal experience, the prevalent thing. Okay, and therefore, and because of this battling and the belief system that all of the people who belong to that group had been adopted at some point, there's a lot of work about trying to fight the being who so-called assaulted them. And there was a lot of battling. And I've done many clearing for people of that group who couldn't end the battling to bring them into neutrality. So this is a big like side pocket to explain to you the following. To ascend, you have to fulfill the requirement of the threefold flame. It's love, wisdom, and power. When in any mechanic, in any teaching that is being taught right now, whether it's the teaching where I'm teaching you through the torsion field and the Guardian Alliance of Light, or it is through the teaching of Kundalini Yoga, Kriya Yoga, or any other kind of mechanic, the first part that you're going to hit is the power increase. Okay? It's that's going to inflate first. That's going to go shoot up first. But when the power increase occur, if you haven't done the work that we did, that I insisted that we did for years, and this is why at some point, early point, for those of you who've been with me for years, there were lots of people at the beginning. Now we are the remainder. It's because people don't want to look into their intent. They don't want accountability. They don't want to deal with their negative ego. They don't want to try to tame their desire body. They believe if they have a desire and they have the psychic power and ability because they have the power increase, they should just manifest it and get it. I was talking to somebody about this very recently, who was telling me this is the way it is, otherwise you come back to fulfill it again. I said, that's not what it is. If that were the case, none of us would ever evolve. We would be busy being reactive to our desire, left to right and center, and we would never evolve. Evolution requires restriction. It requires control, and it requires examination, and then into the core reason why the desire is there. What kind of weakness? If let's say you want to desire, your desire is to attack somebody, the thing that we need to focus on is to find out what is the root cause of the attack. And in my experience, all attacks are always because we feel we'll lose control and we're trying to gain it back. And it's coming from fear and from loss of control, or the appearance of a loss of control. And if you want to transmute that desire, what you do is that you go to the root cause, you listen to yourself, and when you get to the root cause, you find an ascended way to feel safe instead of feeling out of control or that you've lost control. You find another way. And when you surrender to spirit and you surrender to God, you can find a sense of safety without having to resort to attack. And that desire gets transmuted into something else. That's mastery of a desire body. So what I'm saying is that if you're not doing the steep work of accountability, you're not gonna, when the power increase happens, it's like a genie that pops out of a bottle, because your energy field becomes now so big and so immense that all of the untamed part of your psyche are now released and now big in the outside world. Whereas before they were suppressed, they were internal, and you were dealing with them not incorrectly maybe, but they were still internal to you. And now they're unleashed into the world. And that's very damaging, not only to you, but to other people around you. And that creates karma, which means in this lifetime you will not ascend. You have the power increase, the first level, but the other level will not show up. And what happened often is that when that power increase occurs and you didn't do this work, you end up being a twilight master. And I know it's a rough kind of characterization. And I have to say to you that a lot of the people who initially engage in these various systems are good, they have good intentions. But the mechanic and the teaching that they are following is not inclusive. It doesn't include all these various steps. And somehow they were misled. And it's their karma with those teachers as well, that they have to figure out that they're on the wrong path at some point, and then they have to move on. Because if you get to the point where you become a twilight master in this lifetime, you will not be able to ascend anymore. You have to come back again and start afresh. Or you will travel, if the galactic equator crossing occurs while you're still in that kind of like release of unleashing your inner demons into the world, you will go to an alternate reality where you're going to have to spend many years and many incarnations to try to figure it out. So I am saying this to you because I want you to understand what's about to happen. Within a month or two, many of you will begin to have the energy increase because of all the work we are collectively doing. Since we're moving in lockstep together, it's gonna, a few of us will start, and then it will basically help the entire group body out. Because when I add my light to your light to my light, and so on and so forth, it creates a gigantic beacon that and right now, because what's happening cosmically as well, for the planet, we are being supported in this Deus ex machina. And so we should be aware of this and use this as an opportunity to elevate and to move forward and to accelerate our step for the next couple of months, so that this actually happens, because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Now, giving all the work that you've done in reframing your consciousness, there's going to be bumps for certain. And I'm going to talk about those in a second. There's going to be bumps, absolutely. Because it's like a child learning how to walk. You're going to have a huge energy body, and you're going to have to learn how to walk, because now your thoughts are going to manifest. Your intentions are going to manifest almost instantaneously. Now, initially, it's very scary because there are thoughts, stream of consciousness thing that passes through your mind, and you're thinking about them. And all of a sudden, when you see them showing up in front of you physically, it begins to worry you, particularly in the first few months or weeks of you trying to manipulate this energy body. Now, I remember the first time this happened to me many years ago, I had a problem even walking around my apartment. Like I would walk and bump into a wall because I felt that I was much bigger than I actually was, than I am physically. I could feel the energy being so big around me. And so I had a problem, a slight disorientation problem. Not vertigo, but disorientation. Like I'm tilted to the side and I'm not completely straight, and I'm like, what's going on? It's not vertigo. It's just your energy body is so big, and you realize you don't end at the end of yours where your skin ends, and you're so much bigger. Then therefore, when you're going through a doorway or you're going somewhere, you miscalculate because you think you're heavier or bigger than you actually are. And energetically, it's the same way. It's like emotionally, because now you can manifest. It's gonna be, and you're gonna make mistake. And I'm saying this point blank to all of you, because you never have been in that state before. In fact, the opposite happened from your memory. You descended. Now that you're ascending, what's gonna happen is that you're gonna think the wrong things. You're gonna because you haven't completely remove all of the spots and shadows that exist in your subconscious mind. So some stuff are going to pop up, and they're going to pop up, and they're going to create things that are going to be concerning to you. And this is like a child learning how to walk, and the child falls. You're going to make mistakes, and the mistakes are part of the learning. It's you learning how to exist in that bigger energetic body. And it's going to also help you, and you're going to also do good, because now that your intention manifests, you're able to support friends and family members and people in your care much easier. Okay? It's not a question of doubts anymore. You will begin to realize, if I can manifest all of these other things that seem accidental, what happened now if I intentionally sit with somebody that is in a crisis? I've said this to you before. The greatest help you can give people in your care is to witness them. And I mean by that, to listen to them with unconditional love from your heart. No judgment. Whatever someone is going through, it is their journey and their karma. Give them the respect of making the right choice in their own timing, not yours. In their own timing. And whatever struggle they are going through initially, you have to have compassionate listening, or what I call holographic listening, where you sit with them and you basically listen as if the more than 100 trillion cells in your body had ears. No judgment. You're just there to create a safe space for them to, for the first time, share the fear, the burden, and often enough, it's in some instances, I've had instances where people were even suicidal because they never had an opportunity to really express to anyone how much they were struggling. Allow them to say fully and completely everything that they need to say, while you simply say, yes, I'm so sorry to hear that. What else? Encouraging them to unload. Because when you're doing this, it is not Pierre, Janice, or Esther or Bobby that's listening. It is the God that you're indivisible with that's listening to them. Because you're now a grounding rod for that God. When you begin to understand that idea and the concept of being that I am indivisible to my Creator, I'm indivisible to my God, it's a powerful thing, because you're not the one listening to them. In fact, Pierre is in the background somewhere quiet, and it's the God in me that's listening to them. And that will begin to heal them. By the time they've unloaded and released their fear and their struggle, it will make them feel at least 50% better. Any questions, any comments?
Yes, please, Pierre. I was just talking with someone today. There's a similar story to back this up of somebody visiting a person in stress, in grief, uh, listening or being there for that person, and yet came away with some injury, that energetic injury. So there's a
Because
question
that
that I
person,
have.
that part of it is maybe because the person was doing it from their own ego. They were not neutral.
That's what because it was a personal, deep connection, family kind of connection.
Mm.
So my question is about how to separate self, I guess, from the holographic
Yes.
infinity of that listening.
So what I do is that I do the Ho'oponopono for a long time. Okay? Please forgive me, I love you, and I let go. I do that. I do the full version. If me, my family, or my ancestors, this is, if somebody tries to communicate with me, I know it's going to be that kind of like intense stuff. I need to become neutral. If it's a client I'm going to talk to, sometimes I have clients who've come on the cusp. I've come and walked in, asked me to do things, and I told them you have to reschedule. I'm sorry, I can't do it right away because I'm not neutral right now. I will not do it if I'm not neutral. Because if I'm not neutral, I'm going to absorb something.
Right, right. So that's, I think, what happened. So the neutrality, the Ho'oponopono,
And,
and
and,
neutrality, both.
and also doing the torsion field.
Aha, yes. The neutrality again, the
Yes,
protection, the
yes.
that comes with that neutrality. Okay.
And then you become detached. You're disconnected, and whatever charge or emotional stuff that they had, if they are trying to, if they're releasing stuff, sometimes people are attached with demons. In your case, in this, I have so many instances in this that where that happened. Or it's not, they're not bad people. They don't know what they picked up when they picked up. They picked them up. And in the course of you listening to them or mentoring them, the stuff jumps off by your neutrality in your holding space. It jumps off. And I've had many instances with clients where I've seen literally energetically the demon fly toward me because they are parasites and they're seeking the next host. If somehow you make the person become neutral and they have to disconnect, because let's say, for example, the person is -5 and they are +5. So there's a perfect marriage. But
Mhm.
if you happen to bring the person to 0, they can't stay because the frequency is different.
Mhm.
So they will try to seek another host. So they will rather, and I'm the first person that's next to them. And when they move toward me, because I'm 0 point as well, they move through me like a smoke, like I become like smoke, like a hologram. They pass through me and they exit at the back, like literally pass right through me.
Mhm. So preferences, but not attachments. When
Yes,
you're listening to someone as deeply as you might care for them and empathize with their struggles or their traumas or whatever, um, listening and encouraging them to share
yes,
and unburden themselves without taking on their burden by
right.
means of having preferences but not attachments.
Yes, but now having said this, I can tell you my mother passed away of complication from vascular dementia. Now, toward the end of her life, but let's say the past 6 or 7 years, I could only do remote healing for them, for her, and only for 15 minutes. Because the way she was, knowing what I was able to do, when I did hands-on healing on her, she dumped everything into me, and I was more than happy to take it as a sign so that she could feel better. And that would make me sick for about a week.
Oh,
Literally, I had to cancel every appointment.
oh,
I was too attached and too close. We have an old proverb back in the Caribbean that says a knife cannot scratch its own handle.
I love your Caribbean comments.
Okay. And I am too close. There are certain things I cannot do for myself. And I had to ask another healer to come in and help heal me and remove these attachments. And I had to realize I cannot do. If anything, if I can touch, if I do touch hands-on healing, it's for 5 minutes because I could feel all of her struggle going right into me. This is the woman who gave me life, who did everything for me, sacrificed. I'm more than happy to absorb all that stuff for her. I couldn't find a way to become non-attached and say I'm not taking it. So what I did is that I did remote for her, but 15 minutes long, no more than that. If I did it longer, I would still take stuff.
And having taken stuff on, you were not able to scratch your own handle, being the knife
Yes.
that you are. So you had to have somebody else, or is there a method that you would be able to access to do that?
Well, there's some parts that I could access, but there are certain things I cannot really read for myself, but I can intuitively pick up a whole bunch of things from other people much better. But for myself, it's not easy for me to do. I'd rather have somebody else do it.
Mhm.
Somebody that I trust. Most people cannot read for me anyway because my energy is too intense and too big. So it has to be somebody that I really trust, and then I can have them read for me. And there are certain other people, a specific member of our own crew, I can allow you to pray for me, and I know the prayer is going to come in because it's coming from good intentions. So yes, you can, but there are certain things I can remove. I can see to the best of my ability. I can begin to scan myself and see and ask spirit, all the ascended masters to come in. Archangel Michael, take this away, move this, and all of that. But to to get a thorough, because again, I'm too close to myself and I will not see the whole thing. So there are certain spots that I'm going to miss. And I would rather have someone else do it
Yeah.
to make sure that it's thorough, that everything is removed.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that makes sense. I'll pass that on to these people that are shocked by the injury that came upon this person. I think being empathetic to the extreme degree
Yes,
that
yes,
picked up either just the need of that person and it was too heavy for them.
yes, yes. You have to be extremely neutral. So I said on open over a long, sometime for 3 days. 3 days. I'll share with you an experience. We used to do all these prayer requests on the website, and this one family, I used to call them the frequent flyer because every week they had another catastrophe that happened, and they were always asking for help. It's a big family, and one of them had married this other woman, blah blah blah. They want healing, blah blah blah, and then they send the picture and my council, the group that my advanced student, we were doing the healing, and then we would send the email out for the healing, and then when we meet as a group, we would talk about the healing. And then when I ask about this woman, and then they're all like, oh, nobody did it because they got scared. And the reason they got scared, it's because when you connect to her, she's not human. Her soul is insectoid.
Oh,
When I connected with her, and people freaked out. They then immediately thought that she was that they were no longer neutral. I saw big bug eyes. I saw an antenna. I was like, but I continued because I'm like, I'm 0 point. Nothing should surprise me.
mm.
Even the insectoid needs the love and the care of God as well. And this is true of all the races.
Hmm.
And I told my group, I said, yeah, I know she is. I saw it. And I know all of you get freaked out because of what you saw. Because it initially startled me too, because I was not expecting that. And this is probably that soul's first time incarnating on earth into a physical body, but she's definitely not of this world.
Hmm.
Now, if you've done everything right with the power increase, what's going to happen, meaning that you've worked on your heart and your emotion and you've tamed your negative ego, the power increase need to be tempered and merged with the increase of your higher emotion, your compassion, your mercy for yourself, your empathy. It needs to be increased, because if you have all of this energy, all this power, and you have access to all these people energy grid, let's say your energy grid extends 25 blocks, or even, and it's probably will be much further than that initially. And you can see and sense everything that there is a, and you can tell people, you can sense people's secrets, you can, it's very easy for your ego to step in to think that you're omnipotent and you're some sort of hotshot because you have access to all that information. And not only that, but you can manipulate it. So if you have mercy and compassion, knowing everything that you'll know and still understand, with great power comes great responsibility. And I have to, because now I'm getting bigger and I'm a giant, I need to move gingerly. And I have to be very careful, like a bull in a china shop. I have to move very carefully. And I have to make sure that step number one of ascension, when you have the energy increase, harm no one. That's step number one. Harm no one. To the best of your ability, harm no one. Because you're here to heal, to help, and to elevate. And so when all of this is going on, you will begin to realize as well that the love increase, if you've done everything we've been working on for all these years, again, there's going to be a learning curve. There's going to be part where you're not sure, you're not certain. Okay, the best way to describe this is this. When you make the initial mistakes, you're going to realize after the fact, when your thought or your idea was making a quick judgment about this person or that situation, or you thinking negatively about XYZ, and then this thing manifests, you will begin after the fact realize in hindsight that right after you had the thought, an inner knowing washed over you and said, no, Pierre, you cannot think this way. Where you're on right now as you're elevating, you stop. You cannot think this way. And it's a soft, but yet at the same time, all-knowing. It's not loud. It's like almost like a soft wave, like a splash that just hits you. The key to moving from there into the wisdom, because after all, wisdom is power used rightly. In other words, power that's merged with heart, therefore used rightly. And the key there is to learn how to pick up the waves and the warning as they come into. You have free will. You can bypass it. You can decide, I'm not listening to it. I can do whatever I want. But it would be in your interest, because the universe is not there trying to tell you, tell you what to do. Like giving you a roadmap and saying you do this first, second, and third. And it's not going to tell you this. It's going to give you free range. You can do whatever you want. But when you're about to do something that's breaking the rules and the laws of the universe to create more negative karma, it's going to give you a warning. No, do not do this. The key to evolve the wisdom is to learn how to yield, obey, and listen to the warning. And when you can listen to the warning, suddenly people will think that you're the wisest person in the world. Like, for example, if you're mentoring somebody that's in crisis, that's doing all kinds of things, it's very hard at times to if you allow God, again, when the person is telling you their crisis and what's going on with them, if you find that you're so emotionally engaged and what they're saying is so intense for you and it's your emotion and you're not neutral. If on the other hand you feel like you're slightly detached, like you're slightly back, your identity as indivisible from God will step in, and that's what will listen to the release of the burden. And that part of you need to trust it implicitly, because there are moments where it's going to say things or suggest things, or it won't know exactly how to interact. It will know exactly what to say. And people will see you as wise when in fact that wisdom, there is no class to teach it. It actually is something that's written in the fabric of our soul when we surrender to our God self and allow that God self to guide our steps. And then we appear as being wise, as being kind, compassionate, and having great mercy. So, in the process of our future ascension, it is important that we begin to understand that this increase, this eminent increase, comes with a few bumps. I'm giving you as sincerely and as honestly as much of my own personal experiences to try to guide you. Again, you're going to make mistakes. Be ready, be prepared for this. And it's through the mistake that you're going to learn, and then that you're going to see in hindsight there were warning. You're not going to see it initially. It's when you go back and you meditate, you know, wait a minute, there was a voice, there was something that waved at me that said, no, stop, don't do this. No, don't do this. And you're going to have to learn how to listen to that voice. Because initially it's going to be just a faint whisper. Questions, comments?
Yes, Pierre. You intuited my question, rather, I had a question, I guess. So if when we remain neutral and slightly detached, so that God's thoughts can move through us, if we're sharing, or if we're hearing and listening to somebody sharing their struggles, what if we are then in a situation not of a negative emotion, but a positive emotion, a love of a person or of what they're talking about? Is there some detachment that we need to maintain with that as well?
You mean they're projecting love toward you, or they're expressing their love for someone else?
Well, whatever they're talking about that you identify with as a loving, uh, it could be something like a pet or their experience with a loved one or some project.
You will know what to say and what to do, because when you're standing in that connection to your God, with your God, and you're at one with that connection, you will know what to say. You will know how to.
Yes.
Your intuition will tell you. And again, God is not going to make the choice for you. You still are yourself. You're still gonna be Janice. You're still gonna have to. But if you're saying the wrong thing or doing, it will warn you and say, "No, Janice, not this."
Yes, I feel that too very often, that if I just remain calm when I'm listening to someone, the thought comes to me to share that would be helpful to them.
Yes.
But I'm just thinking about not bringing in that positive love or joyful emotion then to ourselves, much as we wouldn't have the painful emotion.
No, love is the ultimate nullifier.
Is the ultimate what of the
Nullifier, nullifier.
nullifier? Oh, I see.
So it's not if somebody is expressing love and the love is unconditional, it's coming from the right place because there's conditional love that is toxic.
Hmm.
I had somebody, I had to have a conversation with a friend of mine that I was realizing was projecting romantic love onto me when all we are is friends. And I had to have a conversation and say, We're not dating. This is not what's going on. You're projecting something." And I'm not reciprocating. I'm not participating because you're projecting. I have never given you any idea. Just because a lot of times people misinterpret your kindness and your empathy and your ability to connect to God like this and to give them great advice as because they never had real unconditional love before as a romantic or sexual thing. And if that is coming, you have to create boundaries because that's not what it is. And a lot of teachers, a lot of leaders make the mistake. First of all, you don't sleep with anybody in your care. Anybody that's your student or client or anybody in your care, you cannot sleep with them, period. That's the greatest sin. It's spiritual incest. And the karma you will incur will be severe. So if somebody is projecting that kind of sexual love on you, you have to put an end to it. You have to say, no, this is not happening. And again, it's a two-way street because sometimes the person projecting could be something in other situation you would be attracted to. But because they are in your care, it cannot happen. The ascended masters will not think of having some sort of sexual relationship with us. Why would you ever think of that? And if the priests, the leaders, the ministers, the rabbi were to have that kind of education, they would not be making all the mistakes that they're making. And there would be less sexual abuse in the world. Lots of spiritual teachers, particularly the one who have done no emotional intelligence, spiritual or social intelligence work, they are making that mistake. If the love is agape, it's unconditional love, it's the ultimate nullifier. That's gonna be your problem. But if the love is coming conditionally, it's coming toxically, where the person wants you, I want to be with you. As a teacher, I can tell you, if somebody gave me 10 cents for every time this happened, I would be a rich man by now. Because a lot of students, a lot of clients project that toward me. Because they don't have it in their life in any other way. They don't have unconditional love because that's such a rarity that they project onto it the conditional performative love that they know. So you have to be very careful when somebody's projecting that love toward you, that it's coming in the right way. You see what I'm saying, Janice?
Yeah, I think what I was speaking about is on that level, but that's good information. What I was just thinking about more was the uplifting, joyful, loving feeling that you have about a subject that that person is sharing. They're expressing some joy and beauty and love about, and you bring that feeling of that emotional positive feeling into yourself rather than remaining detached such as you might if they were sharing negative thoughts.
Yes. No, no, no. There's no issue. You don't need to become stoic and dead because they're bringing love.
No.
Okay? And think that there is going to be an infection because they're sharing the love. That's not that. Love is the greatest healer. And if someone is sharing their love and it's genuine, be happy for them. Tell them congratulations and be genuinely happy for them.
Okay, well, that was maybe a silly question, but um, as this power increase happens, who knows what?
Yeah, no. It's a good question because you don't know what you don't know. And when the increase occur, you don't want to, it's better to have all this information rather than not have it at all and fumble and
Yeah.
not know how you're supposed to, what you're supposed to do. If it's that kind of joy and that kind of genuine like happiness, be happy with them, rejoice with them.
Okay, gotcha.
That's a beautiful thing. For example, if somebody you were helping all of a sudden has achieved some breakthrough, help them celebrate. Be happy for them.
Okay,
This is great thing.
that
And
feels
and and
comfortable.
and you can give the person advice, but your God spirit that's in you will know when to give the advice. Sometimes that first time they talk to you to unload and unburden, you don't say anything. Nothing anything significant, just encouragement. And it's only by the second time that you give them a little piece of advice by saying, if I were you, I would do maybe, may I suggest you do X, Y, Z? May I suggest that this, that, or the other happen? And sometimes if you don't have the skill set, funnel them to somebody that has the skill set to help them.
Hmm. Thank you, Pierre.
Yeah. So the other thing for us to understand as well is that giving all of this uh, uh, growth that's about to happen with the love, power, and the wisdom, it is important to, and again, it's the way I've studied in the mystery school is always love, power, wisdom, but actually it's power, love, wisdom. That's the order that it comes in. It's power, love, and wisdom. That's the order it comes in. Power, love, wisdom. And the power being the first step, the love being the second step, or the balance of the emotional body and the social intelligence, and 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 learning how to give and receive in a balanced manner while you're doing that exchange with them, with the people in your care. And then that will, and if you master it correctly, it will show up as wisdom. And then you will begin to be a beacon. So it means that initially the power increase will be a 12-level initiation. But there are other level initiation beyond that, going all the way to initiation level 22nd and 23. And that you're not going to initially ascend and jump to 23. You're going to start at, going from 10, 11 to 12. And one by one, there will be tests that are going to be presented for you. Multiple tests. More dweller, more dweller, more dweller at every initiation level. But since now you've done the biggest job on the dweller, you'll learn to recognize it and you will pass them much faster. And then you will know, okay, I passed the dweller there, and then as you do this, you'll increase. And when you get to be at the 22nd level initiation, you are now you're now a planetary ascended master. You're in the ranks of El Moria and all these like more greater, more advanced being. Now, the 12th level initiation is the beginning of the Christ initiation. Okay, the other thing I want to mention is that you're going to feel extremely sensitive and vulnerable because you're going to pick up everybody's stuff. Some part of it is going to feel overwhelming. Okay? But that will be your ego afraid of the growth. You're going to feel overwhelmed. And again, this is still dweller stuff that who am I to be responsible for all of this? But that's still your ego, that's still dweller stuff, because who you are is indivisible from God. And you're more than ready for that. And even more. So be aware of this, and there are certain kind of conversation you will know you cannot have. There are certain kind of movies, videos, there are certain kind of like books that you cannot read because it's going to break your heart. You're going to feel things. Like I was having a conversation with somebody in my family yesterday, and they were talking about something that was happening back in the Caribbean, and this man was like saying some very negative and horrible things. I felt literally I had to change the conversation. I said, okay, I'm going to end the phone call. I don't want to hear it because it's hurting me. I can feel hurt inside of me. Everything inside of me was like a darkness was enveloping my core. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not having this conversation. So when you're going through that process, you need to monitor the diet that you're feeding your soul. What news you're exposing yourself to, what conversation that you're having, particularly the state of the world is right now, socially, politically, weather-wise, all of the things that are very terrifying and scary that seems bigger than us, that are all seem to be in flux and therefore may appear as being unsafe. But remember who you are. If you're indivisible with God, you are safe. And the less you worry about the details or the outside, the better you're going to be, the more you're going to surrender to your higher power and know that I am anointed by God and I'm not alone. And therefore, nothing is going to happen to me. It's important to keep our consciousness in rectitude instead of tilting sideways and going horizontal and oblique and going in all kinds of directions by exposing yourself to things that are going to distract you. I make a lot of effort. I have still yet to watch an entire news clip or speech made by the President of the United States because I don't want to be agitated by anything that's being done, or for that matter, any negative news whatsoever, because I know the state I'm in. I'm focused on the end goal, and I'm so close. I don't want to fall back. Any questions? Any comments?
Glad to hear you say that, Pierre. I have found the same response whenever there's a conversation or a movie or any kind of program or news information that I find upsetting. I have to turn away from it. It
Yeah.
is just I don't like the way it makes me feel, and I'm really focused on growing and not getting trapped into a negative spiral that will not help me and won't help anybody else.
No.
Uh, I think um, part of it sometimes makes me feel that I'm being negligent, not to be tuned in to what's going on, or to not want to hear somebody suffering. If there's some news program or a movie or a conversation about some terrible thing that happened to somebody, part of me thinks, well, you should know because you don't want to ignore the suffering of others. But I feel I can't do that.
If you are fully ascended, there would be no problem. Right now, you're still I'm trying to find the exact word. You're still in gestation,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And therefore, you should protect yourself while you gestate and when you begin to continue to emancipate into the person that you will become. And the way I get my news, I watch the thumbnails on YouTube. I read just the thumbnails
Mm.
so that I be informed more or less of what's going on, the headlines. I don't push on the. I watch comedy shows. I watch animal stuff. There's a couple of programs that I'm watching right now where a farrier is putting shoes on horses. This is what I watch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to watch anything that's gonna. A lot of the comedy shows, things that gonna make me laugh, because laughter is very healing.
Mm.
I watch animal stuff, the elephant sanctuary. I watch a lot of that stuff because I am gestating and I don't need to have, like a friend of mine, who I respect quite a bit, was trying to tell me about this show. I think it's called Alien, and it's about the Alien movie with Sigourney Weaver. It's an evolution of that. And I watch a clip of it on YouTube. I'm like, I'm not watching this.
No, no, kid, that's horrible, that movie. I
Yes.
watched it once years and years ago.
Well,
Oh, it's scary.
I was in a different state when I watched that movie initially, and my friend was with me at the time. At the time, I was dealing with my shadow,
Ah.
and I didn't mind watching it. And I'm going to surprise you and shock you. I was rooting for the alien.
Oh
I shocked myself that day. I was like, "Yeah, get her!"
no.
I'm not that person anymore. It's because I had accidentally channeled my shadow and brought it to the surface. It was dominating and controlling me.
Mm. Things
And
like
this,
programs about the Holocaust, for instance.
yes, 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 yes. It's
Um,
too much pain. It's too
I
difficult.
oh horrible. I think I'm gonna die. I get feel so upset if I hear too much of that.
Yes, 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 yes. So yeah, and I told my friend I'm not watching it. Not I'm too vulnerable right now.
Okay.
I'm gestating, and I'm trying to warn you and let you understand what you're to the next between now and the end of the year, what's going to happen to you as this energy increase occur, because it will. You might, if you're not forewarned, you might think that you're crazy. Something is wrong with you, because a lot of my other students at the moment, because they're watching some of these things, they start crying, they burst into tears.
Mm.
It's because you're gestating. This is the wrong information for you to have at this moment. Now, as an empath living in the middle of Manhattan, it's also very tough. I'm not in that state, thank God. But about a year ago, there were moments I would wake up and I would start. It was my scream that would wake me up. I was in such distress, feeling unsafe, and it wasn't my pain. I was picking up a whole bunch of things.
Mm.
Now, that's the thing I'm trying to make you understand, is that when your energy increases and you're that big, you're going to pick up the stuff. But if you are listening to it as your identity, as Pierre, as Janice, as Esther, as Bobby, you're going to break apart. But if you're listening to it as indivisible from God, from Creator, from infinity times infinity, you're not going to be in pain. There is a difference. And that's why you have to seek, and this is the next thing I'm going to talk about, a new version of the torsion field we're going to be doing to maintain. And I do this thing I've already done it 3 times today. Okay. So I'm, and the way we're going to do it is that each torsion field, when the guardian comes in and offer you their shields of light and protection and the band of neutrality, you're going to, um, repeat to the guardian and the gift that they are giving you of neutrality, because it's an act of generosity, an act of love, an act of um, um, uh, uh, true mercy. And it's a projection of that love into you. Like when we say, may the peace and the serenity that I know pass on to you. The guardians who are in that dimension are saying silently to you, may the peace and the neutrality that I know pass on to you, and they're overlighting you with it. And what, as a response for this great gift, you're going to say deep and profound reverence for the gifts received. And then you wait for the next torsion field to come in from the top, now rotating clockwise, coming down, creating the torsion field all around you, wrapping like a donut around you, an energy donut. And as that happens, then you will simply allow the field of neutrality to overlight you again, nest on top of you, and then you will then again repeat deep and profound reverence for the gifts received. For all 12 guardian, every step of the way, you're going to repeat this because you want to reestablish your connection to the divine in spiritual rectitude and verticality. And there's a reason for this. Again, for the external chaos and everything else that's happening around, remember, gratitude is the key to remove shame and undeservedness. And what's blocking us from accepting the gift, even not only the gift from God, all the gifts that are coming from God, but the gifts even from the guardians alliance of light, it's our own shame and undeservedness. So at every step of the way, we are gonna say to the guardians, deep and profound reverence for the gifts received, to allow the gift to enter and to come in. Now, the meditation I'm going to do with you in a few is going to also have in it the other two parts, which is once the torsion field is created, you're now in source. You're now in the creative womb, and you're going to now acknowledge that I am indivisible God. And you're going to let that sit with you and let your identity as being one with God come in. Remember, I had said to you before that instead of being linear and think of yourself as being Pierre in 3D only, and not understanding that Pierre is also the one with all of the brokenness. There's another part of me, there's another identity of myself that is connected to the brokenness that the accuser is highlighting for me. But there's also a part of me that's also indivisible with God. And all of them are true at the same time. The key to it is that my consciousness can slide to any one of them at any moment. Because I'm all of it. I'm everywhere in the universe simultaneously. It's a question of my consciousness shifting, being much more fluid. Stop being so rigid with your identity, thinking I am, and then you're nailed, anchored into the earth. You're all of them, those identities at the same time. So when you say I am indivisible to God, you have to allow that frequency and that vibration to take over and to frequency-wise, energetically-wise, and healing-wise shift you. And once you're in that state, then you can radiate like the guardian alliance of light, the peace, the serenity, the love that you know to someone else. So at that moment, we will repeat, I am giving and sharing from infinity times infinity. It is not I as my identity appear, but it's the me as indivisible from God in infinity times infinity. So I'm sharing from there. So I'm giving and sharing from infinity times infinity. And I am an open valve outpouring divine blessings. Now, if you do this before you have that conversation, that Janice, like you were saying before, your friends, if you do this and before you have that conversation with somebody who's in distress, you are not going to pick up anything from them. Any questions, any comments?
Thank you, Pierre. I wanted to ask, in the torsion field, in the state of neutrality, a deep and profound reverence for the gifts received, gratitude being the antidote, I think you said, for shame and
And those are witness, yes.
undeservingness. Um, that sounds like it is the way we're going to need to go now instead of begone time and space.
No, the big on time and space is for us to release all of that um, understanding into the world to make a shift. Let's say, for example, there's a hurricane or there's a crisis. We're going to initially do this to kind of like make sure we're completely neutral. And then from that point, we're going to say, be gone, time and space to manifest it outside of ourselves.
To manifest. Um,
The access,
oh, I see.
the access that we have when the guardian is with us.
Okay.
When you say be gone, time and space, you push it outside. And
Ah,
you create a measure of God in 3D environment to shift it into something else.
that's not to release or not release, not to erase something, but it's something. It's to
Heal, to protect.
project something.
Yes, yes,
So begone
yeah,
anything that resists that. Is that
yes. When
I,
you say be gone, time and space, what you're saying is that anything in the external universe that's connected to the 3D right now, I'm creating an exception.
I got you. Okay. Oh, good,
I
good.
am decreeing an exception.
I
And when I say
understand.
be gone, time and space, I'm projecting the anti-corona that's in me, I'm projecting it outside in the location that I'm looking at, in the
Thank,
center.
thank you, Pierre. That's much clearer to me now.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Now I'm doing this 3 times a day, meaning a long version maybe in the morning when I have time, or in the evening if you have the time then. And then when I take a walk, as I'm walking, like a walking meditation, I'm thinking of all the step and I do it again. Now your thoughts are going to move much faster. You're going to need less time. You may need the recordings initially to learn all the steps, but when your thoughts, it takes 10 minutes to do it. And after that, if you do it long enough, it's going to take 5 minutes. I'm doing it. The reason for 3 times a day is that we need to create this anchor ASAP to accelerate the creation, the upsurge of the power increase. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay, let's take a 5 minute break. 5 minutes.
Yeah, I did find it difficult to remove the noise from the full meditation
Okay.
recording, but I did send out what I had to you and to Bobby and to Esther and Melton.
Okay.
But if I had I was thinking it was the problem with the music file. But when I reduce the noise on the full meditation, it also impact your voice. So I only just did the first 3 minutes.
Yes.
But for those that might find that
I'm
noise
gonna send
disturb-
the other recording that I have, actually, that I did with the other class. I'm gonna send it to everyone. It's a clean recording. It's a different music, and the subwoofer did not act up.
well, that's good. Okay.
Okay.
But anyway, if it's helpful, that one that
Yeah, yeah. I'll send it to everybody tomorrow.
right.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Let your mind and your heart sync with each other. And notice what you noticed. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. And the guardian lines of light approach you, offering to gift you their shields of light and protection and a band of neutrality. If you're ready to accept this gift at this time, answer affirmatively and let the energy from the first guardian begin from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through your central axis, exiting outside of your head, and going into the top of the fourth dimensional body while creating around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the second guardian coming down from the top of the fifth dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through your core, exiting at the bottom of your feet, and going to the core of the earth and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the third guardian, initiated in the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving upward to the bottom of your feet, passing through your central axis, exiting at the top of your head and onto the top of the sixth dimensional body, while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the fourth guardian, cascading down from source, entering at the top of the seventh dimensional body, passing through your core while rotating clockwise, exiting at the bottom of your feet into the core of the earth, and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends. And it attracts now the energy of the fifth guardian coming in from the core of the earth, counter rotating, moving through the bottom of your feet, passing through you, exiting outside of your head, and leaving at the top of the eighth dimensional body while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of your head extending attracts now the energy of the sixth guardian, cascading down from the top of the ninth dimensional body, rotating clockwise, moving through your core, exiting at the bottom of your feet, and going into the core of the earth, and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the seventh guardian coming in from the core of the earth, counter rotating, passing through the bottom of your feet, exiting outside of your head, and moving into the top of the 10th dimensional body while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts down the energy of the eighth guardian, rotating clockwise and entering in the 11th dimensional, top of the 11th dimensional body, passing through your core, exiting at the bottom of your feet, and going into the core of the earth and creating all around you. A torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts down the energy of the ninth guardian, counter-rotating, coming in from the core of the earth, passing through the bottom of your feet and moving through your central axis, exiting outside of your head and exiting the top of your 12th dimensional body. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the 10th guardian, coming in from source while rotating clockwise, penetrating the top of the 13th dimensional body, moving through your core, exiting at the bottom of your feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the 11th guardian, counter-rotating, coming in from the core of the earth, moving through the bottom of your feet, passing through your central axis, exiting outside of your head and into the top of the 14th dimensional body, and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the 12th and final guardian, coming from source while rotating clockwise, passing through the top of the 15th dimensional body, moving through you. As it exits the bottom of your feet and penetrate into the core of the earth, creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. I am indivisible from God. I am indivisible from my Creator. I am indivisible from infinity times infinity. The Mother, Father, and I are one. I am that I am. I am giving and sharing from infinity times infinity. And I am an open valve, outpouring divine blessings. I am the grounding rod of endlessness. And I broadcast and radiate the liberation, the ease, the compassion, the healing, and the mercy of the Creator. May the light, the healing, the expansion, and the elevation that has no beginning and no end release all burdens. May I be healed. And may all men be healed. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you for that beautiful meditation. It was very personal. I would ask if it's not too much
Yeah,
trouble.
I'll send it. Yes.
That one was really, it hit the mark for me in many ways. I mean,
Good.
there are always. I have so many that I like to use, but that one was special.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Not a problem, Janice. I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
I want to thank all of you for listening. If you're listening to us on Patreon, thank you for your support. Like and subscribe to the video, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you, my love. I love you so much, family. See you next week.
Good night, everyone. Love you all.